Alright, so now we're going to review going over the journal entry, how to get to it, and what to put in the journal entry. So what I need you to do is click on ePortfolio and Tools, and then click on Journals, and then click on VOIM112 journal entry, not the down arrow. Alright, so as you can see, the journal entry has some journal instructions. So at the end of each class, you're expected to kind of record some of the main points, some of the main things you learned in the session for the day. You get 2 points for each journal entry, and just make sure it's clear and legible. And as you can see, for the heading for the journal entry, it should be the date of the class. Do not use the week number because it's kind of confusing for me when I have to go back and read through some of the journal entries. So that's how you get to the journal. So to create the journal entry, click on Create Journal Entry. And for the title, remember you need to use today's date. So it's 5/23/20. Yeah. And then you go down into the entry message. Click down there, and then you just type everything that you learned. If there are any questions that you might have, you can put them in there. If you didn't feel comfortable asking a question and you wanted to get a little bit more information on it, feel free to enter it in your journal entry. This is a discussion between you and I. So if you have questions, feel free to ask the questions. If there's something that you would like me to cover again in the next class session, this is where you would enter it at. And then I would cover, I'll cover whatever you need to have covered over before you take the quiz. So that's the journal entry. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is review SimNet and how to access the SimBook and the SimNet files. Alright, so to go into SimNet, again you have to go into the course, the VOIM112 course. Go to SimNet. Now this screen might pop up, sometimes it doesn't pop up, but if it does, just click on McGraw-Hill Campus. This is the screen that normally pops up after you click on SimNet. Once you get to this screen, you click on SimNet SimGrader. And then it would look something like this, where you'll have a group. It'll always say either Excel Chapter 1 or Excel Chapter whatever it is, or it'll say Access Chapter, whatever the chapter is. You click into that, and as you can see, you have your SimBook, you have your guided project here, and you have your independent project. Now for each one of these, you'll see a due date. That means that that's when it's expected to be turned in. The SimBook, I don't expect you to turn any work in from the SimBook. This is just saying that you'll be able to view the SimBook from now until August 29th, which is the last class that we'll have for this semester. The projects, however, those have due dates. Again, this is the due date, June 5th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. So if it's turned in on June 6th at 12:01 a.m., it's going to get a 20% penalty, late penalty. Same thing with the the guided projects. You don't have to worry about those. The independent project is the one that's going to get 20 percentage points taken off. So when you go into SimNet, when you want to work on a project or when you want to work on a book, we'll take a look at the project first. So I'm going to go into the guided project. So you'll have 3 steps. The first step is download files. The second step You can save your files, and if you're not done working on the files, you just save the files into SimNet, and then once you're ready to work on the file again, you come back into SimNet and then you'll click on it. The third step is to submit the file for grading. This is when SimNet is going to grade your document. So some things about the download. The optional download, this will come up once the first time that you click on the start file, but you don't have to worry about the optional download. The things you do have to worry about is anything that says required. So the start file is required because you need to have a start file, and you definitely want to have your instruction files. Those are required. A couple of projects have something called a resource file. That's also required. So in step 1, you only want to download or open the required files. So that would be start file, instruction files. This optional download, we don't care about that unless you want to keep reading the legal jargon. So also in SimNet, for each assignment, if you scroll down, you'll see it says previous attempts. So this tells me that for this assignment, I get 5 attempts to get the grade that I want. Once you submit the file, or once you submit the file to get graded, it's going to show up down here, and it's going to show what attempt it is. So it'll be 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, or 5 of 5. And it's also going to tell you the time that you submitted it and the date you submitted it. And it's also going to tell you the score. So if you submit the file 5 times, it's going to have 5 entries in here, and each entry is going to show a date and time. So if you say that you submitted a file, before the 11:59 p.m. deadline, and SimNet says otherwise, I'm going to go with what SimNet says. So again, and another thing, do not try to use another student's work, because SimNet will flag it. It has something in the files to flag whose name it's coming from. So even if you change the name of the file, there's something in the file itself that shows who downloaded the file originally. So if you try to use another student's work, it's going to flag it, and you're just going to get a 0 on the attempt. So I would recommend you do your own work. If you have questions, feel free to either email me or text me or call me with your questions before you start using someone else's work. So just a little note about that. So again, the first thing we want to do is download the files. To download the files, you're going to click on all Office versions. That's the start file. The instructions have 2 different options. When we're at Brand & Stratton, their computers only have Windows, so you would select that. But if you're working from home and you have a MacBook or some other type of Apple product, you would use Office for Mac. But since I have Windows, I'm going to click on this to download my instructions. So I have my instructions. Those usually go into the downloads folder. So once you click on it, you see it's down here. But if you close out of this little bar down here, which I always do, just know that they're usually downloaded here in the downloads folder. So that's where it downloads it to. Now the instructions, actually I just did the instructions. The start file itself also downloads. So once it downloads, you'll see that it did not download. There it is. Oh, you don't see, oh, sorry. Let me share my whole desktop. Hold on. Thanks for telling me that. I will share the desktop. Yes. Okay. You should be able to see my screen now. So we're going to download. You download the start file, and the instruction file. And those usually, again, get downloaded to the downloads folder. So when I told you don't worry about the naming convention of the files, it actually, SimNet actually names the file. It has your first and last name. This is the company or what you're going to be working on. And then this is the chapter. Alright, so we're going to open up the instructions. So if you can see the instructions, it's going to tell you we're working on Guided Project 1-3. It tells you what's being covered for the project, and then it's going to go step by step how to get to the final result, which I always put the final result, the results on the last page. So once you're done with everything in the assignment, your assignment should look very close to this. Alright, so very close to what's in this screen. So to get to that, we have to start with step 1. Now step 1 is generally, it's very simple to do. You just open up the file. So it already has all of the information in there. So if you see it says step 1, enable editing button so you can modify it. So it says click on this button so you can start modifying it. So I just finished step 1. So what I usually do if I don't have a printed out version, I'll usually highlight each step that I have done. So I go into Acrobat Adobe, click on Options, and select Highlight. And once I do a step, I'll highlight it. Which it didn't do. Oh, I must have checked it again. So I'll highlight that step so I know that it's done. So then I'll go on to step 2. It says remove a split and freeze pane. So it'll tell you step by step. So I need to click on the split button, which is located in the View tab in the window group. So that tells me to go into Microsoft Excel. I'm going to go to the View tab. I see the window group, and it tells me click split. So once I do that, I'm going to go back into here, and I'm going to mark that off. Now 2B says click cell A4 to freeze the column titles at this position. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into cell A4. So here's column A, row 4. Right here, I'm in cell A4. You can to know where you are, you just, if you see the name box right here, it tells you what cell you're in. So I'm in cell A4, and it tells me to freeze the column at the position. Click the freeze panes button. It says go to View tab, Windows group. So again, I'm going to go to the View tab, I'm going to go to the Windows group, and it tells me to click the freeze pane button. So I'm going to click freeze pane, freeze pane. So after I do those, so I did 2B and 2C. So after I do that, alright, so that's how you go step by step with the instructions. And one thing I always recommend students do is every so often you want to save the document, because I mean it has autosave on, but I always tell students to make sure they're also getting into the habit of saving. To save the documents, there's multiple ways to do it. You can use the keyboard shortcut of holding down the control button and the S key. That'll save. So you see after you save, it says saved right here. Or you can go to File and go to the back page, go to Save or Save As, but since it already has a name, we're just going to say Save. If it doesn't have a descriptive name, we would click Save As, but it has a descriptive name. So this is the name of the document here. So we'll go save. So that's another way to save. So I always tell students to save every so often. Get into the habit of that. Because sometimes people don't turn the autosave on. So let's say I'm done with my document and I'm ready to upload it to grade. So we're going to save. See, it's saved again. So I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to close. I'm not going to save this. It's just a PDF. Alright, then I'm going to go back into SimNet. So I've already completed step 1, which was to download the files. I'm going to go to step 2 to upload the file. So another thing you want to do is make sure you write down the location of the file. If it's in the downloads folder, make sure you write down it's in the downloads folder, because it'll save you a lot of headache and heartache when you're trying to locate the file. So we're going to click on upload my file. We know that it's in the downloads folder. I'm going to sort by date modified. I want the latest date to appear at the top so it's easier to find it. So I'm going to click on the file that I want to upload, and then I'm going to click open. So once you start the upload process, SimNet's going to say, are you ready to have this file graded? If I'm not ready, I'm going to click no. If I am ready to get it graded, I'm going to say yes. But so that I give you an example, I'm going to say no, I'm not ready. So once I say no, I'm not ready, it saves the file here. But again, you always want to have your file saved in 2 different places. So since it's saved on SimNet, I also want to save it in the cloud. And to save it in the cloud, I'm going to go to www.onedrive.com. Pretty speedy. I'm going to click on sign in, and you can do this from any computer that has internet access. I'm going to enter my email address attached to my OneDrive account, and then I'm going to enter my password. Don't copy my password, okay? Oh, I don't know my password. Okay, so now I'll go down to the folder that I want to save it in. So I have a folder specifically for this class. So I know where the file is located, so I'll go into my downloads folder, which is where the file is located, and I'm going to hold my left mouse key down, and I'm going to drag it over to OneDrive, and then I'm going to, it's here. So now I have it saved in 2 places. I have it saved in OneDrive as well as SimNet. So as you can see, to save your in progress or completed work, you click upload. So it's saved in 2 places. So now I can just get up, log out of SimNet, and log out of the computer, and I can just go somewhere else, and once I'm ready to start the work back up, I come back into SimNet, or I go into OneDrive and I start the work back up again. So that's the best way to do it. So as you can see, it's upgraded or uploaded. But once I'm done with the file, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that file again, even though it's the same file. I didn't do anything. So instead of saying no, I'm not ready, I'm going to say yes, I'm ready to have this graded. So SimNet's going to go through, grade, and then it's going to tell you the results. So as you can see, I didn't do very well on this assignment, but what it shows you on this screen is it shows you the assignment name, shows you the course. It tells you that you can print this out, which you can, It tells you your score, file name again, the number of attempt that you just submitted, and the application that you use. And then it'll go through and tell you which step is incorrect. So green is good, red is bad. So it tells me that I did not do something right in step 2. And it'll tell me which step I didn't do right. So it says step 2F. So if I go back into my instructions, and it has the instructions listed as well. So it has the instructions listed here as well as here. So I'm in 2F. 2F, it tells you the type. So it tells you pretty much the step that you messed up. And it tells you which ones need work and which ones don't. So again, SimNet is kind of picky with how it wants things done. So just try to follow the steps that SimNet wants you to do instead of trying to do the steps the way you're used to doing it or the way you want to do it, because it'll probably mark it incorrect. So after it's been submitted, after you look at this, if you want to print it out, feel free to print it out. Otherwise, you want to go back, you want to click on, to go back, you click on the assignment name, and then you'll see that I just submitted attempt 1 of 5 attempts. It tells me the file name, it tells me the time that it was submitted, the date, and the very bad grade that I received. Now, you won't see a delete result. That's only because I'm the instructor that I see this. I won't even delete it because I'm not worried about the grade. But that's how you download files in SimNet. You save files, and then you upload files for grading. And then you see the results from SimNet. So that's how it's done. So now we're going to go over how the SimBook is arranged. Alright, so if you go back into SimNet, and you go into whatever chapter you're going to be working on, instead of clicking on any projects, you want to go to the SimBook. So we're going to be working on chapter 1. We'll start this next week. But you click on SimBook. It allows you to look at the table of contents and click on the area that you want to view, or you can just go ahead and open SimBook. But before you do, you see there's 27 pages. You can reset the lesson progress if you want to by clicking on that button, or we're going to open it up. Some other things you're going to see on this screen: you'll see the chapter and what's going to be discussed in the chapter. You see your start date, you see your due date, you see your end date. So the difference between these 3 dates, the start date is kind of obvious. The due date is saying that that's when it's due, and you won't have any type of penalty, late penalty on it. The end date is saying that's the last day that's going to appear in SimNet for you. So these two are the same because the SimBook is going to be available to you from the start of the class to the end of the class. So that's why those 2 dates, the due date and the end date, is the same. And that'll be the same for any chapter that we go over that I put into SimNet. It'll say a due date, the due date and the end date are going to be the same. Alright, so you click on Open SimBook. It goes through. This is pretty much, if you have the physical book, you can actually look through it and you'll see that everything is pretty much the same as far as the discussion. But one thing that's good about the SimBook is you can actually go step by step on how to do something that's in that lesson. So you have Show Me, which SimNet will go through step by step and tell you how to do it. Then you have the Guide Me, which where SimNet will write, it'll have the instruction listed, and it'll allow you to go in and go step by step, click on everything. And then you have Let Me Try, which you're just going to go in and do what you're supposed to do without any SimNet interaction. So I'll click on show me. You probably can't hear this, but someone's talking in the background. It's going to tell you step by step. Somebody's going to say something step by step what to do. To get out of it, you click that X. Guide me. So as you can see, step 1, it says click the File tab to open Backstage View. So I'm going to click File, and then I'm going to click Correct or Continue. Then it moves on to the next step. Click Save As to display the Save As area. So now I'm going to click Save As, Continue. Click Browse to open the Save As dialog box. Click Browse. Type PPE 1-1. So as you can see, you just have to go step by step. So that's how the Guide Me goes, or that's how Guide Me guides you through each step. You click on Let Me Try. So now it's telling you what to do step by step, but you don't have to click on Correct or Continue to move to the next step. So I'm going to click on that, Save As, Browse, and then I type that in there. So that's how Show Me, Guide Me, Let Me Try works. And then to get out of it, you click the X. To progress through the pages, you see you have your arrows. The left goes back, the right goes forward. So if I want to go to the next page, I click, and this should look just like what you have in your book, the physical book. So what I want to do is I want to get to the independent project. So you have your guided project. So this is guided project 3.1 that I have open in the PDF that I got out of SimNet. So that's guided project 1.1. We want to go to 1.3. So if you see, let me try to get these side by side as much as possible. So as you can see, it's pretty much the same verbiage for the most part, but you see here it tells you the learning outcomes, and it just gives you a little bit more information in the SimBook than what's in the physical book, which is why I recommend you use the SimBook to do the assignments and use the physical book if you want to read through things. You can also use the SimBook to do the Let Me Try, the Show Me, and the Guide Me. But as you can see, we'll scroll all the way down, and you have your little results page. And if we scroll all the way down here, you have your results page. So it's pretty much the same. Some of the wording is a little different, and I'm guessing it looks that way in the physical book as well. So for the guided projects, for the projects themselves, I would say use SimNet. Use the instructions from SimNet as opposed to the physical book. Alright, so for the rest of the remainder of the class session, we're going to start working on Microsoft Excel, try to get a few shortcuts to use and some features of Microsoft Excel. So one thing I will always recommend students do is save the icon in the taskbar. To do that, you click on your Windows button, you start typing in Microsoft Excel. Once you get to the Excel that you want, I have two versions on here, you right mouse click and you select Pin to Taskbar. Once you do that, it'll always show up here in the taskbar. You don't have to click on the Windows button and type Excel. It'll always show up down here. So we're going to open up Microsoft Excel, and a few things to note: they do have tutorials. You can watch those on your own time, but we're going to start a blank workbook. So in Microsoft Excel, it's made up of cells, which include rows and columns. So the rows are the horizontal numbers, and rows are designated by numbers. Columns are vertical, and those are designated by letters. So I can't remember the number of columns, but you can have a lot of columns. As you can see, I'm all the way over in column B, BR, but I want to go back to 8A. So your name box is right here. This tells you what cell you're in. Right now I'm in cell A1. If I click over here, now as you see, as I click in cell F6, the name box changes. This is your formula bar right here. This is where you're going to enter any formulas for the assignments that you get. As you'll find out, anytime you want to enter a formula, you hit the equal key. Alright, so you have your tabs up here. You have your home tab, insert tab, page layout tab, formulas tab, data tab, all the way to help tab. Now as we enter things, you'll probably see some more tabs as we enter things for the assignments. So inside of the tabs, each tabs, you have groups. So if I go to the insert tab, I see I have groups tables. If I expand this, I have a tables group, illustrations group, add-ins group, charts group. Inside of the groups, I have ribbons. So I have a pictures ribbon, online pictures ribbon, 3D models ribbon. So it's very important that you understand the terminology as far as tabs. So tabs, groups, and ribbons. Because throughout the course, I'm going to say go to tab, home, group font, and I need you to change the document, the wording to bold font. So you would go to the home tab, find your group, and your bold ribbon. So it's very important that you understand the terminology, that basic terminology. You need to know what cell that you're in by looking at the name box. Or you see that F6 is highlighted when you click. When you click E13, you see the E's highlighted, the 13's highlighted. So what I normally do to try to get people to start working in Excel, I need everyone to open up Microsoft Excel. Danette, do you have Excel on your computer? Are you there, Danette? You're on mute. Parker, you have Microsoft Excel? Alright, Debbie, you have Microsoft Excel? Okay. No problem. No problem. So, one thing I can tell you, if you don't have the full version of Microsoft Excel, you can always use your Bryan and Stratton 360 Excel. So I'm going to go to email. Yeah, that's fine. That works too. I'll use that then. I'll use that. To get to it, you will go into your email. You click on the app launcher, left hand corner. I always do a right mouse click to open up the new tab. And we're going to go to new blank worksheet. Now one thing with Excel 365, some of the features aren't included that are on the desktop Microsoft Excel. So this is good to use for some basic things, but some of the advanced features aren't included on the Excel 365. So again, we have our tabs, same tabs, we have our groups, and inside of our groups we have our ribbons. So we're going to go ahead and go to C1. I want you to go to cell C1, and I want you to type VOIM112 Do we want to do favorite movies or favorite apps? Which one? Danette, what would you like to do? Movies? Parker? Okay. And Debbie, the tiebreaker. Okay. Well, favorite apps. That's what we're going to do. Alright, so we have in C1, we're going to type VOIM112 favorite apps. Alright, so if I wanted you to make VOIM112 favorite apps, I want you to make that font bold. There's several ways you can do it. I'm going to give you the keyboard shortcut as well as doing it using the menu options. So if you want to write this down, to put something in bold, you can either hold down your control key and then click on the B. That'll make it bold. Or you can go to your home group, your home tab, font group, and click on B. Alright. So if we want to make it bold, and we also want to make it underlined. To make it underlined, you do your control key. Make sure that you're on the correct cell. So I'm in C1. So I'm going to do my control, and I'm going to do my U key. I'm going to click the U key. So another way to do it is go to your home tab, font group, and your underline ribbon. And we're going to change the font size. What size do you want the font to be, and what kind of font do you want to use, Debbie? Okay, that's what I like. Very basic. So we're gonna go to our home tab, font group, click on the font list, scroll all the way down to Times Roman, New Roman. And Danette, what size do we want this to be? 12? Oh, that's pretty small. But we'll go with it. Alright, so we're going to do our lists. We're going to have our list. So we're going to go down to cell A2. Remember, we have a column. Column is A. The row is 2. And we're going to say, we're going to have that column name app name. So as you can see, it's not giving me the whole name. I can see in the formula bar that it says app name, but down here it doesn't say app name all the way through. To expand that, you can either hover in between the A and the B column. When you do that, you'll see 2 arrows and 2 lines down the middle. You hover over that and you can double click and it'll automatically space it to the size that it needs to be. Same with VOIM112 favorite apps. You see it's expanding across column C and column E. We'll hold off on expanding that until we figure out how we want to do the other column. So what else do we want to have listed in about our favorite apps? So we know we need to know the app name. Do we want to know the rating, like whether it's rated for teens or rated for adults? Do we want to have a cost? Do we want to have what type of app it is? What do we want to talk about our favorite apps? Parker, what's another column we can put in here? Alright, so we'll have ratings. So to go to, once you type in ratings, you can hit enter, or you can just tab over to the C. Danette, what else do we want to put? Alright, so I'm going to hit tab to go from column C to column D. Parker, what cell are we in right now? Thank you. Somebody's paying attention. Alright, so right now I want to save my document. Debbie, do you remember what the shortcut to save it, the keyboard shortcut? You still there, Debbie? Control S. Yep. Alright, so I save my document, and you see it says saved up here now, and it's automatically saving it. That's the beauty of using 365. Alright, what else do we want to talk about? Our apps, our favorite apps. Debbie? Let's go price. Price. Alright. Alright, so those are the 4 things we'll have for our apps. So let's start with Parker. What's your 3 favorite apps, Parker? No pressure. No pressure. What is it? YouTube. Okay. Yeah, we know what that is. Yep. All right. What's next? So I'm going to hit enter to go down to A4. What's the next one? Chrome. Okay. All right. Next. Yep, there is. Alright. Cool. Alright, so we're going to get some information. So ratings. I don't think I want ratings in here. So to delete the whole ratings column, I'm going to click on the B column. Then I'm going to right mouse click. Delete columns. Alright, so now we're just going to do type and price. Alright, so everybody got that? Alright, to undo something, you either hit Control Z or you go to your home menu, your undo group, and click on your undo ribbon. To redo it, to get rid of it again, home tab, undo group, redo ribbon. So we want to get rid of that. Alright, so what type of app is YouTube? Sounds good to me. Chrome? Browser? Okay. Search engine? I like browser. Yeah. Yeah, browser. OneDrive. It does. Let's see. Cloud. We'll just say cloud. Yep. Alright. Alright. Is there a price for Google? Or, sorry, YouTube? Alright, so that's $0. Price for Chrome? Alright. OneDrive. Nope. Let's go free. I like free. Actually, let's make all of this 0. Remember what I put in there. Okay. Okay, we'll keep it like that, but remind me not to use the $signs for the price, because we need to see how to format that. Alright, so Debbie, you're up. You're up. Need your favorite apps. That is a very used, it's used a lot. All right. What'd you say? You still there, Debbie? All right. What kind of? Because I use all of them. I don't use Facebook as much, but I use the other two a lot. All right. What type of app is Amazon? Yes, it is. Facebook. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So I don't think Amazon costs anything. We can. Okay. Mm-hmm. Netflix. $12.50. Somebody's being very realistic here. All right. All right, Danette, you're up. Okay, let's go ahead and game. Okay. Oh, you like to do crafts. What kind of app is that? What would we call that? Crafts. Mm-hmm. I got you. I put social media. All right. What's your third one? What was it? Say it again. Oh, Venmo. Is that how you spell it, or is it that? All right. Yeah, I don't use it, so. Okay. Yeah, I don't use it. So we'll call that finance. All right. Bingo. How much is that costing us? All right. Mm-hmm. We'll just say $9.99. All right. All right. So now we're going to save, even though it's automatically saving. We're going to practice Control S or File Save. Oh, Save As. You got to remember we're using 365. All right. So we can see that some of our types aren't fitting into our spacing as well. So Debbie, do you remember how to expand so that it automatically expands it to the size that we want it? How do we do it? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, you can. All right. Okay, so next thing we want to do, we want to bold so we want to go from A2 to C2 to bold and underline these. So you know that the terminology is A2 colon C2. So this means that I'm going to go from A2, I'm going to hold down my left mouse key, go all the way over to C2. So this is how you would write that, A2 to C2. All right, so we want to bold. How do we bold, Parker? Control B. Yep. Do we want italic? We can go italic. I'm good. All right, Control I to italic. All right. Yep. So this is ours. All right. So if we wanted to make the font color for Parker's favorite apps, what's your favorite color, by the way, Parker? To see it, yeah. Red. All right. So to do that, do you know how to make all of your font, your favorite apps font, red? Yep. Yep. And how would we write that if we wanted to say go from A3 to C5? Do you remember? Colon? Yep. So that's how we would write Parker's favorite apps. That's the cell. And you said red. So we're going to go to Home, Tab, Font Group, and click on the font color ribbon. All right. Who's next? Is it Debbie? All right. And how would we write that? Yep. All right. Yep. Purple. Yep. Thank you. All right. Danette, you're up. Yep. Looks good. So let me write this. Ooh. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, I didn't have it selected. Can you see that okay? All right. Well, that's what it's going to be. All right, so let me make sure we got A6 to C8, A3 to C5, A9, C11. All right. Okay. Why does that look so weird to me? Oh, let me just. All right. So I want to move this up to F9. So to do that, I'm going to move what's the contents that are in F11 up to F9. There's several ways to do it. If you want to cut it, you do Control X and then Control V when I get to F9, or I can select the cell, right mouse click, cut, go to cell F9, right mouse click, paste. I'm going to save. All right, so you have a question? Okay. All right, so for Parker, which one of these three is your favorite of your favorite apps? All right, so we're going to highlight that with another color that hopefully works well with it. So we're going to highlight cells A3 to C5. To do that, we're going to go to your Home tab, Font Group, and Fill Color ribbon. What color would you like to use? Well, it would have to be something that's... Let me see what that one looks. The orange probably won't work well for you. Gray would work well. Yep. Alright. Yep. Alright. Debbie, what color are we going to use for you? And what's your favorite app, I should ask? Yep. Ooh, where's that at? That one? Alright. That looks orange to you? That's not the one that you want? That one? Alright. Let me select your... So we want to go with this one. Oh gosh. I'm not doing a good job of this. Alright, so we're going to try this one. That one. Alright. We got you together. Alright, Danette. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? Yeah. Alright, and you said gray? That? Can you see that okay? Okay. Alright, so you see in the price category, we need to do some changing of the format. Does anyone know how to change the format? I'm listening. Nice. Nice. It's not the way I normally do it, but it is definitely a way to do it. So that's one way. The way I normally do, I highlight, like I would probably highlight the whole column. Right mouse click, number format. It's several ways you can do this. Yeah. So whatever way, this way seems to have frozen up my screen. Alright, you go to currency, and then in here you can, select how you want it to, the negative numbers to look, and you can also do it up here as well. So, good job. Alright, we want to do some spacing. I would like to make this kind of center. I want these numbers to be centered. So, Danette, you know how to do that, or did you just answer that, Danette? Okay. Debbie or Parker, you know how to center the whole column? Yep. Yeah, this one will center the numbers inside the cell. So if you have yep. All right, no problem. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is center this. Merge and center that. How do I do that? Parker? It should be easy. Exactly. So we go to our home group, home tab, alignment group. Yeah, pretty much. That was easy. All right. So now with since we're using 365, we can actually share this document. What? Okay, so I went to the home tab, alignment group, and I need to actually be on B1. So, and then click merge and center. Yep. So you have a lot of different options, which you'll probably use a couple of these throughout the semester. But it's good that everybody is using the proper terminology to tell each other where certain ribbons are located. So with 365, and I think with the desktop app, you can actually share. So I'm going to share this with everyone in this class. Any relation to Brittany Parker? I've almost sent her a couple of emails. Alright. Oh, I didn't. Yep, B1. Merge and center. It's this right here.